one of the things I actually would love to like rigorously use photo AI, because for the thumbnails I take portraits of people. I don't know shit about photography. I basically used your approach for photography. I like Google, how do you take photographs? Camera, lighting. And also it's tough because maybe you could speak to this also, but like with photography, no offense to any, they're true artists, great photographers, but like people like take themselves way too seriously, think you need a whole lot of equipment. You definitely don't want one light. You need like 5 lights.
Man, I know this.
And you have to have like the lenses. And I talked to a guy, an expert of shaping the sound in a room. Okay. And because I was thinking, I'm going to do a podcast studio, whatever. I should probably like do a sound treatment on the room. And like when he showed up and analyzed the room, he thought everything I was doing was horrible. And that's when I realized, like, you know what? I don't need experts in my life.
Did you kick him out of the house?
No, I didn't kick him. I mean, I said thank you very much.
Thank you, great tips. Bye.
I just felt like there is, focus on whatever the problems are. Use your own judgment. Use your own instincts. Don't listen to other people, and only consult other people when there's a specific problem. And you consult them not to offload the problem onto them, but to gain wisdom from their perspective. Even if their perspective is ultimately one you don't agree with, you're going to gain wisdom from that. And I ultimately come up with a PHP solution, PHP and jQuery solution to the PHP Studio. Like I have a little suitcase. I use like just the basic sort of consumer type of stuff. One light. It's great.
Yeah, and look at you. You're like one of the top podcasts in the world, and you get millions of views, and it works. And the people that spend so much money on optimizing for the best sound, for the best studio, they get like 300 views, So what is this about? This is about that either you do it really well, or also that a lot of these things don't matter. Like what matters is probably the content of the podcast. Like you get the interesting guests.
Focus on the stuff that matters.
Yeah, and I think that's very common. They call it gear acquisition syndrome, like gas. Like people in any industry do this. They just buy all the stuff. There was a meme recently, like you buy, what's the name for the guy that buys all the stuff before he even started doing the hobby, right? Marketing, marketing does that to people. They want to buy this stuff.
Yeah.
But like, man, you can make a Hollywood movie on an iPhone, if the content is good enough. And it will probably be original because you would be using an iPhone for it, So
that said, the reason I brought that up with photography, there is wisdom from people, and one of the things I realized, you probably also realized this, but how much power light has to convey emotion. You just take one light and move it around. Say you're sitting in the darkness, move it around your face. The different positions are having a second light potentially. You can play with how a person feels just from a generic face. It's interesting. Like you can make people attractive, you can make them ugly, you can make them scary, you can make them lonely, all of this. And so you kind of start to realize this. And I would definitely love AI help in creating great portraits of people.
Guest photos, yeah.
Guest photos, for example, that's a small use case, but for me, that's I suppose it's an important use case because like I want people to look good, but I also want to capture who they are. Maybe my conception of who they are, what makes them beautiful, what makes their appearance powerful in some ways. Sometimes it's the eyes, oftentimes it's the eyes, but there's certain features of the face can sometimes be really powerful. And I can't, it's also kind of awkward for me to take photographs. So I'm not collecting enough photographs for myself to do it with just those photographs. If I can load that off onto AI and then start to play with like lighting,
you should do this, and you should probably do it yourself. Like you can use Photo AI, but it's even more fun if you do it yourself. So you train the models. You can learn about like ControlNet. ControlNet is where, for example, your photos in your podcast are usually like from the angle, right? Mm-hmm. So you can create a ControlNet face pose that's always like this. So every photo you generate uses this ControlNet pose, for example. I think it would be very fun for you to try out that stuff.
Do you play with lighting at all? Do you play with lighting with pose with the
man? Actually, this week or recently, there's a new model came out that can adjust the light of any photo, but also AI image with Stable Diffusion. I think it's called Relight, and it's amazing. Like you can upload kind of like a light map. So for example, red, purple, blue, and it uses that light map to change the light on the photo you input. It's amazing. So there's for sure a lot of stuff you can do.